Tav Chafam at base, 3 lines from the top at the 2 dots. Rav Chisda Rame Pischa Pischa. We learned previously in the Mishnah on Daf Yud Daled that Rameir learned out from the Eidos Ruchani Ben Kahanim as the practice that what the Kahanim did in the Beis Hamikdash. He therefore learned out that you can burn Truma Tahira with Tmeya on Erev Pesach, since the chametz is going to be burnt anyway. Therefore, there's no mitzvah of shimur. So Rameir learned out that sarfin Truma Tahira Mitzmeya BePesach. That's what Rameir said. Rav Yosi said, no, Eina Mina Mida. That's not correct. You cannot learn out from here that you can burn Truma Tahira with Tmeya. He said that a maidim, even Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua, are maidim shesarfim zul atzim. They have to be burned separately. Their machlokes was on a suffix together with a tmeya. So Rabbi Lezer aimed to sarf zul atzma. Rabbi Yeshua says, no, you could burn it together, but that's only a tluya with a tmeya, a suffix with a tmeya, but not a tahira. So back to the Gemara, Rav Chisda Rame Pischa Pischa. Rav Chisda asked the stira and the halachos of Pesach in Rav Yeshua Shita Umeshane, and he answered that. Umi Almami Amar Rav Yeshua Shteim Kachas. Did Rav Yeshua say that you can burn the tluya with the tmeya together on Erev Pesach? Very minute, I'll ask you a stira. Amar Rav Yosi Eina Nidim Daim L'Rai. Rav Yosi said you can't compare the two. You can't say that you can burn Truma Tahira together with the Tmeya, as Rameir says. Why is that? Because Kishayir Rabbi Seinu, when the Kahanim were made about the practice in the Beis Hamikdash, what were they made on? Now, even though they said that you can burn the meat together, but if it's the Basha that was nitma with a Vlada Tuma, together, Shesarf and Isim Basha Nitma Ba'avatuma, that they can be burned together with a meat that was tamei became tam with an avatuma, meaning even though there's different levels of tuma, the balsa that's nitma with an avatuma is a rishon, and you're burning it together with the balsa nitma bavlada tuma, but you can't prove anything from there because they're tamei is tamei, because they're both tamei, so you're burning kachim that are both tamei together. And im ala shemesh nifsel betul yom, and if you want to bring the rye from the case of the shemen, well, it's the shemen that nifsel betul yom became possible with the tul yom. When somebody was tamei, he went to the mikveh, he did not have hair of shemesh yet. So if he touches the truma, he makes it into a shlishi. He parcels it. He makes it into a shlishi. So if that's the case, that you're made shemadli kanayis bener shenditma betami meiz, that they burnt together in a candle, in a ner, in the container, in a lamp that was nitma betami meiz, still there's no raya because that parcel was that tami. The truma is parcel. It's not tami, but it's parcel, and the ner is tami, but it's not tar with a tami. Af anu moedim, we also agree with Truma Shnitma Bavlada Tuma, Shesarf and Islam Truma Shnitma Avatuma. We also agree that if they're both Tome, even if they're different levels of Tuma, but if they're both Tome, you can burn it together. But how can you say that you can burn, certainly not a Tahara with a Tmeya, but even a Tluya, even a Safek with a Tmeya, how can you burn it together? Because this Tluya may be in fact be Tor, maybe Alayon will come and tell you that it's Tor. How can you burn it together with a Tome and be Matamit? So we see we have a steer over here. Because over here in this Bryce Rav Yeshua, Rav Yosi says that nobody says that you can burn together the Tluya with a Tmeya. That you can't burn it together, even the tluya with the tmeya, because Shema Yavliyo. And in our Mishnah, Rav Yosi says, Rav Yeshua says that you could burn together the tluya with the tmeya. Umishan Rav Chisda answers the stira, how Rabbi Shimon v'libid Rav Yeshua, and how Rav Yosi v'libid Rav Yeshua. There's different mandamrim according to what Rav Yeshua holds. There's Rav Shimon Libid Rav Yeshua, and there's Rav Yosi Libid Rav Yeshua. And they say they have different opinions what he holds. Rav Shimon holds that according to Rav Yeshua, you can burn together the tluya with the tmeya. Rav Yosi holds that even Rav Yeshua says that you cannot do it. The Sanya we see, where do we see this? Because I'll show you from the Bryce that Rav Shimon holds that And Rav Shimon and Rav Yosi have an argument in the opinion of Rav Yeshua. The Sanya Balsa Shechaliyas b'Shabbos of Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos. Mevarn is a kol mifnei Shabbos. You burn everything before Shabbos. The sarf and trumas tmeyas utluyas utayers. You burn the trumas which are tamei, and the tluyas and the safek and the tahers. Divrei Meir says, and you can burn it all together. That's Rameir l'shitasai. That since it's going to be all burnt anyway, therefore there's no mitzvah shimur that you can burn even the tar of the tmeim. That's the shita of Rameir. Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yosi says tar b'fnei atzma, utluya b'fnei atzma, utmeya b'fnei atzma. Rabbi Yosi says that they all have to be burned separately. You can't combine it. Even the tluya with the tmeya, they all have to be burned separately. Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, "Lo nechlakol Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yeshua, ala Torah, ala Tmeya, she'ein sarf." He says no, that they both disagree with Rameir. They both agree that you cannot burn together tahara tmeya. You can't burn it together, even though there is a mitzvah sreifa and therefore there is no mitzvah shimur. You still cannot burn together tahara tmeya. Ala tluya v'ala tayar shesarf. On a safek with a tahira, they both agree that you can burn it. Alma nechlaka, what's the machlekes? Ala tluya v'ala tmeya. On a safek with a tmeya. Sure, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Elazar says they have to be burned separately. Rabbi Yeshua says you can burn it together. The way the Rosh Yosef explains the machlekes is as follows. That be'etzem ikaradin, they agreed to Reb Meir that midaraisa, since it's going to have to be burnt, there's no mitzvah shimur. And me'ikaradin midaraisa, you could burn together tahara tmeya. There's no mitzvah shimur, but midarabanan, it's also. They argue on Reb Meir and they say midarabanan, it's also. Now, Rabbi Elazar says it's only also to burn together. It's also to burn together rather the tahara with tameya, and even the tluya with the tameya, it's also to burn together midrabanan, because you're taking something which is vaday tameh and you're burning it either with something which is tor or something which is possibly tor. So he says that that's all also midrabanan. But he agrees that if it's a tluya with a tahira, since there's no vaday tuma over here, then you could burn it together. The Rabbanan only were guys where there's something which is vaday tuma. And Rabbi Yeshua says that no, the tahira with the tameya, that's where they're guys. The tluya with the tahira, they weren't geyser. They weren't even geyser. The tluya with the tameya, because you don't have a vaday tahor with a vaday tuma. But Rabbi Elazar says that no, since you have the case of a vaday tome, you cannot burn it together. It's only the tluya with the tahira that you can burn together. So that's how we want to answer it. And we want to say that you see in the Bryce over here that Rabbi Yeshua says that you can burn it together. So that's the shita of Rabbi Yeshua. When Rav Yosi, that's Rav Shimon will leave it to Rav Yeshua. When Rav Yosi said that nobody said that you can burn together the tluya with the tameya, that was Rav Yosi will leave it to Rav Yeshua. In fact, the Gemara, but what do you mean? V'hamasnisa Rav Yosi. Our Mishnah is Rav Yosi, and Rav Yosi says that he says Rav Yeshua's shita is that you could burn it together the tluya with the tameya. So how can you answer it that way? The Gemara answers, Hachi Kamar Rav Yosef Rav Meir. This is what Rav Yosef is saying to Rav Meir. I feel Rav Shimon Rav Yeshua, even Rav Shimon, meaning, according to me, even Rav Yeshua says that you cannot burn together the tluya with the tameya. But even Rav Shimon, who has a more lenient opinion of Rav Yeshua, but even Rav Shimon, I feel Rav Shimon Rav Yeshua, the Mekel who's Mekel, he mekel b'tluya v'tluya v'tmeya. He's only mekel with the tluya v'tmeya. Aval b'tahara v'tmeya loy, but even he's not mekel with the tahara v'tmeya. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina Rami Truma Pischi asked a steer from Truma to Pesach to the din involving burning the chometz on Erev Pesach. Umeshani answers it. Umi Amar Yeshua Shteim Kach. The Yeshua say that you can burn together the chametz of truma, that to burn together the chametz of truma and tomei together with the tluya. Did he say that on Erev Pesach you can burn together the tluya the tmeirim? I'll ask you a stira. Chavishal truma shenoi lebas safek truma. If there's a barrel of truma that there is a safek truma, it has a safek truma rather. It's safek if it's tomei. Rabbi Lezer oimeim haisam unatzim malkam aturfa. Rabbi Lezer says if it was in an exposed area, yanich v'malkam mutzna, you have to put it in a concealed area, meaning there is a chiyuv of shimmer on it, even though it's safek tomei. And if it's in an exposed area, you have to put it in a protected, concealed area. Beam Haisamagula, if it was uncovered, you have to cover it up so that no tumah comes into contact with it. And Rabbi Yeshua says, Rabbi Yeshua says, no, if it was in a makam mutzah, in a concealed area, you can put it in an open area, in an exposed area. If it was covered, you can uncover it. So what do you see over here? That you have this tluya, it's a safek truma on the truma. It says, now you're not metamet b'yadayim, but in an indirect way you can cause it to become tomei. Here we're saying over here that you can burn it together, the tluya with the tamei, you can burn it together according to Yeshua, so you metam b'yadayim. And over there he says, gromi in b'yadayim loy. It's only an indirect way, but you can't be metamet in a direct way. You can't be metamet directly. So what's the chilek? Taisus points out that l'chayr you could say a davar pashut that in Erev Pesach, since it's all going to be burnt anyway, there's no mitzvah of shimur. You can be matamet b'yadayim. Mashenkin over here that it's not going to be burnt anyway, so therefore it's only b'derech groma. But Taisus says that no, that and the Gemara is holding that if that is what Rav Yeshua held, then he would hold you can even burn together tahira with the tmeya, because it has to be burnt anyway. Meaning this derabbanan that we discussed earlier, the Gemara is holding at this point that Rav Yeshua would not be holding with it, and therefore if that was the factor, then you can even do tahira with the tmeya. So that l'chayr is not the factor. So why is it that we say that here you can do it b'yadayim u'mishane? The Gemara answers, Rabbi Shimon or Rabbi Yeshua. This that it says over here that you can burn it together is Rabbi Shimon or Rabbi Yeshua. Who holds? He holds the Rabbi Yeshua that since it's going to be burnt anyway, that there is no mitzvah shimur midrabanan. You can do it b'yadayim. And how Rabbi Yeshua, this is the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua, that says that no, it's only a groma, because he holds that even according to Rabbi Yeshua, you cannot be matam together the tmeya with the tluyam. Rabbi Lazar Rami Truma asks us there, Truma and Truma Mishani answered, Umi Amar Yeshua Gromi and B'yadayim Loi. Did Yeshua said you can only do it b'derech groma, in an indirect way, but not b'yadayim. Very minimal. Ask you stira chavishal truma shenishma b'gas el yainav. You have a barrel of truma that the barrel broke. It was in the upper wine press, so it was in the upper wine press, and now it broke, so the wine would be dripping down. Now this wine is truma, and on the bottom level there are chulin which are tomei. Now the chulin which are tomei can be eaten, for people that are not shomer b'tara. So it's not a hefsed; it can be used. But if the truma that's on top, the wine that's truma on top, flows into it, mixes together with it, the truma will become pasul, or tomei, and therefore it will be ruined, and it will have to be destroyed. So, if it has the chavish on the begas hayan with the chaychun tameim, Maide Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yeshua, they're both Maide Shim Yachal Hasamen Ravias B'Tahara. They say that if you're able to find a kli which is tar, and you're able to save even a Ravias B'Tahara, then Yatzel, that's what you have to do. And therefore you have to do that, and even though the other wine is dripping into the bottom and there's a hefsed, you have to let it drip down while you get a kli which is tohar to save the truma. But if you're not able to save a ravias b'tahara, then Rabbi Lazar Aimer tered v'titma let it flow down to the bottom. He says, "Vayitmena biyad." Nevertheless, you are not allowed to be matam biyad, and you have to have it. It's a hefsed. You have to let it drip down. You cannot collect the wine on the upper level in a kli that's tameh in order to protect it and to protect it from falling down, dripping down. But Rav Yeshua, I marry you to mena biyad. But Rav Yeshua says you could be matamet biyad. You can now take a kli which is tameh, collect the wine in a kli tameh in order to prevent it from flowing down to the bottom, mixing in with the chulin and being matameh and become tameh and creating a hefsed for the chulin that's on the bottom. Umeshane, so you see, you could even be matam biyad, not only b'derech groma. Umeshane shiny has something hefsed chulin. Why do we allow you to do it over there? Because there's a hefsed chulin. We allow you to do it because if you do not collect it in the kli tameh, then it will drip down to the bottom. It will mix together with the chulin, and you will have a hefsed. You won't be able to use that chulin. You won't be able to drink that chulin. It'll be a hefsed. So therefore, they allowed you to prevent the hefsed, meaning, since in any event it's going to become tomei, then in any event it's going to become ruined. So there's no mitzvah of shimur. Now normally we would not allow you to do the yadayim. There would be also midrabanan, but here, because there's a hefsed, we allow you to do it. Well, in the Mishnah also, why don't we allow you to burn the chametz together, the tluy and tamei, and allow you to burn it together? If you're going to make separate fires, the way Rav Yossi says, there's a hefsed of the eitzim. You're going to have to make separate fires. You're going to need more firewood. And there's also a hefsed. Amalei Abaye says, hefsed meruba chashu, hefsed muad lechashu. Yes, that's true. But they were only mekel where there is a great loss, where there is a significant loss, but not a minimal loss. The eitzim is a minimal loss. How do I know to make this distinction between a minimal loss and a major loss? This line we learn in the Bryce. We have a similar case where in the upper press it's oil. They're pressing olives and there's oil. And in the bottom level there's chulin which are tamei. If you can save revius betara yas v'im lav, tered v'titma, tered lav. If not, we say that tered v'titma val yatmena biyad, but you're not allowed to mitam biyad. So what do we see over here? Over here we see that as opposed to the case of the wine where we say that you could be matamed, we see over here in the case of the oil that you cannot be matamed. So even though he allows, Rabbi Yeshua allows to be matamed the wine, that's because there's a hefsed meruba, but the oil, there's not such a big hefsed, therefore he does not allow you to do it. And similarly, by the chametz, he would not allow you to do it. Why do we say Rabbi Yeshua says you're not allowed to be matam the oil and have it drip down into the bottom, even though it's going to mix with the chulin? Why does he not allow you to be matam to prevent that? Because it's not a hefsed, the royal hadlik, because you can use it for burning. You can still use the oil for burning, so there's no hefsed meruba. Yain nami royal zilov. Well, why don't you say the same thing by the wine? It's also not considered a total hefsed, and it's not a hefsed meruba, because even though you can't drink it if it mixed together with the chulin or tmeim, but you can use it for sprinkling. They used to sprinkle the wine and to give an aroma, a good smell. They used to sprinkle it on kalim or on the floors to give a good aroma in the house, and it's royal zilov. So it's also not a total loss. Maybe you'll say ziluf lav milse. Maybe you'll say, well, that's not significant. The aroma that you get from the wine is not significant, and therefore it would be considered to be a total hefsed. The wine that you drink, a lug of it, is the market value is a sela. But the wine that's used for zilo, for the sprinkling, a lug of it fetches two shtaim in the market. It's double the price, so you see it's even more valuable. So what's the chilek? Why do we allow you to be matam of the wine to prevent it from mixing with chulin so that you will be able to drink it? Well, even if you can't drink it, you can use it for zilov. Just like we say by the oil, we don't allow you to be matam of the oil to prevent it from mixing in with the chulin. Now, even though you're not going to be able to use it for achila, but you can use it for burning. So what's the chiluk? One answer is bechodesh. We're talking about the new wine. It's not aged, and it's not roya for ziluf. Enechanam. If it would be wine that's roya for ziluf, we would not allow you to be matamet. Even according to Rav Yeshua, he would not allow you to be matamet because there's not a hefsed meruba. You can use it for ziluf. But we're talking about wine which is new. It doesn't have that aroma. It's not roya for ziluf. But what do you mean? You can age it, and then it will be royal ziluf. So just wait and let it age, and it's royal ziluf, and so there's no hefsed. So why can you be matamet? One answer is also been de takola. If you have to age it, have to leave it to age, we're afraid that in the interim you'll come to drink it, and it's also to drink because it has the truma mixed in with the chulun tameim, and we're afraid for that takola that you might come to drink it. Therefore, we don't want you to age it, and therefore we allow you to save it to prevent it from mixing in with the chulun. Where if you're going to use the oil, you say you can't use it for achila. You only use it for burning, for kindling. Well, also, it'll be a long period of time. And also, why aren't we afraid that it'll come to de takola? You might use it for food and for consumption. So, more answers, if you want to save the oil for burning, then you have to put it in a kli which is dirty, which is mos, which is repugnant, and therefore you won't come to use that oil for achila. You're not going to eat from it because it's in a kli which is dirty. Why don't you have that same eitzah by wine? Why do you say that you can be matama the wine and save it? Why not just say that have it come down to the let it flow down to the bottom? Don't be matama, be a dime, and then put it in a kli that's mos, age it. You're not going to come to drink it, and you'll use it for ziluf, and it won't be a hefsed. So why do we allow you to be matama? Or it says the ziluf kaboile, the kli mos ramile. He's using it for ziluf, for a pleasant aroma, for something nice. To put it in a kli which is mos defeats the purpose. It won't be roy for ziluf anymore. So that's not an option. So what can he do over there? We say age it to lidei takola, and therefore that's not considered to be an option. We're talking about wine which is new. It's not roy for ziluf as it is. Aging it is also bei takola. So therefore, if he doesn't save it and prevent it from flowing down, it will be a hefsed meruba. That's why we allow it to be matamet. But by shemen, you have the option of putting the oil in a kli mos and use it over the period of time for hadlaka, and therefore it's not a hefsed meruba, and therefore we do not allow you to be matamet.